Today on an all-new Dr. Phil exclusive, she pretended to have a firefighter husband.
None of that's true.
No.
Collecting thousands in donations.
And police say the woman has a history of pulling alleged scams to make a quick buck.
What'd you do with it?
I donated as much as I possibly could.
Are you a scam artist?
Now,
I think she's terrifying. She's a chameleon. She will find a new family to prey on.
the former nanny
She was claiming your son was her child.
She is a disgusting human being.
I think she's dangerous.
who lives a fantasy life.
You've had one fake husband, 8 fake children, 7 fake pregnancies. You bought a prosthetic baby bump.
I made it.
That's worse. You actually spent time building one.
Today, she faces off
Let's bring her in.
with the women she lied to.
Today, a woman accused of being at the center of a fake firefighter scam speaks out. 26-year-old Ashley Bemis posted on Facebook all about her loving firefighter husband, Shane, who she claimed was risking his life to extinguish a raging California wildfire dubbed the Holy Fire. Ashley collected $11,000 to support her husband and his fellow firefighter brothers. It was just one problem. Shane doesn't exist. And police claim Ashley pocketed the donations. And this was just the beginning. Take a look.
This California woman's got some explaining to do. She's suspected of scamming people into making donations on behalf of her husband and the others who were fighting one of that state's deadly wildfires. Just one problem, she doesn't have a husband.
Police say the woman has a history of pulling alleged scams to make a quick buck.
Sheriff's detectives have served a search warrant on her, saying that she bilked thousands of dollars from people who just wanted to help firefighters battling the Holy Fire.
I received a text today from Shane saying it's pretty much a living hell out there. She posted on Facebook. She appealed for supplies, and generous people sent her blankets, food, air mattresses, and more gifts worth $11,000.
Sheriff's detectives say Bemis was running an elaborate con, posing as the wife of a fictitious CAL FIRE firefighter on Facebook.
All these kind-hearted people are opening up their hearts. I mean, the firemen are out on the line fighting this incredible fire, and they want to help. And she preyed on that.
So what possessed this young woman to create a fake firefighter husband? When Ashley's story made headlines, people began digging into Ashley's past, and what they discovered was a shocking web of disturbing lies that went back for years. Not only did Ashley invent a fantasy spouse, she created entire fake families, stole photos of other people's children, and even wore a fake baby bump.
Cops raided her apartment here in San Juan Capistrano, California, and took back some of those gifts she had not yet sold. Turns out she allegedly has a long history of fabricating stories, particularly about being pregnant.
She does have a history of doing these types of scams for at least the last 10 years.
Neighbors even threw her this baby shower with expensive gifts after she claimed her husband and other children had been killed in a car crash. Once again, the baby bump was fake. Shannon Crowley says her fake baby scams go all the way back to high school.
When she came to school and said that she was pregnant, she really played it up to where enough people believed her through her baby shower. And then the deceit came out.
Those who say they've been victimized by Ashley Bemis call her a ticking time bomb waiting to explode.
Well, Ashley is here today, and she's coming clean about it all in an exclusive interview. Plus, she will face off against her victims in an emotional confrontation. Here is her story. You've been accused of using these horrific California wildfires to profit. Is that true?
It's true that I've been accused of that. That's not what my goal was.
Okay, but where did you post asking for donations?
The public Facebook page.
Okay, you posted this. You said, Shane works for CAL FIRE and is out on the Holy Fire right now. I also have 2 other family members and many friends out on this fire, and other fires burning here in California. I received a text today from Shane saying it's pretty much a living hell out here battling the unpredictable holy hell fire.
No.
None of that's true.
No. I mean, I do have family in the fire department. It's not Shane, though.
You don't have a husband named Shane?
No.
You don't have a husband named Shane that's a firefighter?
No.
That was sending you a text saying, it's like hell out here.
Right.
Okay, take me through the moment that you sat down in front of your keyboard and said, I'm going to type this out. I'm going to post this on a public site.
Yeah.
And just make up a husband, make up a tragic situation, and actually share a communication that I have with somebody that doesn't even exist. Take me through the moment that you decided to do that. What did you say to yourself?
I think I was trying to make it more believable that I was trying to honestly help the firefighters.
That's just not believable.
I felt like if I just was a girl that wanted to help, no one would believe me. I felt like I needed to give it a why. And I thought that being a fire wife would make more sense.
Why lie? Why not say, I'm absolutely heartbroken that these men and women on the fire line are in such jeopardy and such danger. Join me in helping. I'm gathering donations. Why not do that?
I think I thought that people would just see it as some girl that was just like obsessed with firefighters, and I didn't want it to. I wanted to. I don't know. I really don't.
Did you put a picture up ever of the Shane?
No.
You never used a picture of a firefighter from Chicago fire?
Oh, on the, not with me, but there was a fake Facebook account made up for Shane Goodman.
Why did you just tell me no when I asked you
I
that?
thought you meant a photo like with me and Shane. I misunderstood what you were asking. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, that was from the Chicago fire.
Because you pulled out a picture, Jesse Spencer from Chicago fire.
Yes.
Do you have a fantasy life about firefighters?
I don't think it's that. I just want the happy family more than anything.
But why choose this dramatic firefighter actor?
We have a lot of family friends that are firefighters. I respect everything that firefighters are. My brother is highly involved in the fire department.
Well, here's what you posted with that photo. I have been blessed in my life to have some amazing men in my life who put their lives on the line for others on a regular basis, being firefighters and our EMTs. And on the mark of 9/11, it just reminds me of how blessed I am to have these men in my life. My love and support for you guys is unconditional, especially you, Cutie Pie. What was that about?
I had led people to believe for a while that I was married to a firefighter. I think it was an easy way to explain why he wasn't around a lot, because he was working.
Okay, but you said that you put this post up just to get more credibility, to raise more money, to be really helpful.
Sure.
But before that ever happened, you were lying about being married to a firefighter. That wasn't to raise money and be more helpful. So what was your motive then? Because you said, really, I was just doing this to be more effective as a fundraiser. But this lie began before you were fundraising.
That's very true. Yeah, yes.
And you say you really do respect firefighters and EMTs.
I absolutely do.
And you said you have other family members, and you have a brother in the fire department. But the truth is, you don't have a brother in the fire department.
I mean, he's not a firefighter, but he's in the Fire Explorers. He's highly involved with the fire department.
But he's not a firefighter.
He's in the process of trying to become one.
I mean, let's not have any half-truths here. Do you have a brother in the fire department?
No.
You do not. And you said earlier that you did. You have a brother that's...
He's not working as a firefighter.
So he's not a firefighter.
No.
Because you said, I have 2 other family members and many friends out on this fire. And that was not true. You didn't have 2 other family members out there.
Right.
That was wrong.
Wrong.
So you're coming clean here, so we're clearing all that up. Now, what donations did you ask for?
Like baby facial wipes, socks, t-shirts, like Gold Bond powder, snacks like protein bars.
What was the value of all this stuff?
I've been told it was like $11,000.
What'd you do with it?
I donated as much as I possibly could.
Did you sell any of it?
No,
Did you use any of it yourself?
no.
How'd you get caught?
Someone that actually I've never met made a post about my past mistakes. It became a social media bloodbath, basically.
So the sheriff shows up with a search warrant.
Yes.
And they take inventory of all these items.
Yeah.
So you still had items at home.
Yes, items that I couldn't find a place to drop off, some stuff in my car that I was planning on taking to the Salvation Army, and I admitted that they were in my car because people posted my license plate number and my home address and stuff, and so I was waiting for the storm to settle before I went and did that.
You made up a backstory to this fake husband, Shane. You told different stories to different people.
Yeah.
Why?
Coming up.
You actually bought a prosthetic baby bump.
That's actually not true.
Where'd you get it?
I made it. It's just folded up blankets.
That's worse. You actually spent time building one.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil. He doesn't just admit to beating his girlfriend.
You said you are addicted to abusing Jordan.
When I grew tired of using my hands, I used my feet.
He says he enjoys it.
Tell me why it gets physical.
Maybe it makes me feel better.
I had black eyes. My jaw was broken.
I get tired of her acting like a victim.
You've tried to drown her, you've stabbed her, you've stomped her. How is she not a victim?
That's tomorrow. This November.
You said, I feel instant gratification from beating her.
Audrey has cheated on me with hundreds of men.
You've never woken up to a gunshot and blood all over the wall.
The accusations.
Did you sneak off during your niece's wedding and perform a sex act on a guest?
No.
He says you did.
Are wilder.
Autumn is crazy. She keyed my car.
You think I care? I don't care anymore.
Intense confrontations.
Your daughter and I had sex every day, countless times, like yesterday, like this morning, like all the time.
Oh my God.
You look my wife in the eyes and use your fingers to illustrate that you've had our daughter.
I don't respect you, sir.
Don't miss a single moment this November. We now return to Dr. Phil's exclusive interview.
You made up a backstory to this fake husband, Shane. You told different stories to different people.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't fully understand why I do some of the stupid things I do.
You posted that he was loving, and to others you described him as abusive, as a cheater, never being around.
I think that was probably a battle within myself. I have been cheated on in all my relationships, so I think that that's a part of me working through that. And the loving side is what I hope for someday.
You posted a picture of two children kissing, pretending it was you and Shane when you were young children.
Yeah.
What was that about in your mind and heart?
Growing up, there was a little boy. His dad was a water ski racer, just like mine was. And everyone always joked that we were gonna be the couple that grew up. And so I had kind of merged the two realities, and people thought that Shane was someone that I had grown up with.
You went with the assumption.
Yeah.
People assumed that.
Yeah, it was the same guy, you know, and so, yeah.
You wrote, what good are moms if they don't take embarrassing photos of you when you're little?
Yeah.
Happy dirty 30 to my partner in crime from the age of 2, and the first boy that made me realize not all boys had cooties. You don't know these children.
I got it off Google.
You just found that picture and put it up.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna ask you a question that's gonna take some thought.
Okay.
You faked this firefighter thing, you've been caught, and people look at it and say, why does she do this? creating people that don't exist, telling stories to get sympathy. Where did you learn that that worked?
I think that maybe the first pregnancy, I don't know that anyone ever figured that one out.
When was the first time you faked a pregnancy?
I was young.
High school?
Yeah.
Do you remember your rationale for that?
I accused someone my mom was seeing of raping me, and that the baby was a product of that.
What did that person do that caused you to think they deserved that?
He was married. I felt like he was using my mom.
You know, that's a real entitled attitude to say, I don't like my mother's choice, so I'm just going to gut this man's life.
It was very selfish.
You stuck with that lie. You actually had a baby shower.
Yeah.
And you got gifts.
Yeah.
What'd you do with the gifts?
I have like stuff I've held on to for when I have kids I would love to use, and I sold a lot of it, or I gave it to friends as gifts when I went to their baby showers.
And no baby. How did you explain that?
I don't remember exactly what I said, but typically it's usually like a heart condition or a stillborn or something of that nature.
This wasn't the only pregnancy that you've faked, right?
No.
Why did you repeat that?
It's the attention, it's the feeling cared about.
You actually went to the point that you bought a prosthetic baby bump.
That's actually not true.
Where'd you get it?
I made it. It's just folded up blankets. It's not a prosthetic. I know the Orange County Sheriff said that, and I showed them what it was. It's not.
That's worse. You actually spent time building one.
I mean, if you want to say it took time, I mean, it's literally...
I mean, that's a folded up blanket?
Yeah. It's blankets on top of blankets. It really is.
What made the belly button?
It just like wadded up tissue between the two T-shirts. They're just a strip of fabric. They sell it in the maternity section. And I use that as the stretchy part that holds it. It's not a prosthetic at all.
Well, I think we're playing semantics here. But, so you bought a baby band to hold some type of padding?
Yes.
Yeah. See, everybody lies, by the way, just so you know, but some people weaponize it. They weaponize it in that they victimize people with it. They use it to gain an advantage, to get something they didn't earn or some other way. You worked as a nanny, right?
Yeah.
You used the child you cared for to pretend that he was your own.
Coming up.
Ashley was my son's nanny. I became suspicious when I came across a Facebook profile which happened to be my son, dressed in girls' clothes.
And later.
So, are you a scam artist, or is this something that's a compulsion you can't control?
Dr. Phil's exclusive interview continues.
I hired Ashley in 2010 to watch my son Blake, who was about 3 months old. Sometimes her stories were a bit creative, but she was young, and I just figured she maybe was embellishing her stories. Ashley came to me and told me that she was pregnant. She would show me ultrasounds. She would call the doctor sometimes from my house. One day, I was looking out the window. Ashley had left my house, and from a distance, it looked as if she had pulled something that looked like a pillow out from underneath her shirt. She was, in fact, faking the pregnancy. I became suspicious of Ashley. I searched the internet, and I came across a Facebook profile of a girl named Cheyenne Lane, which happened to be my son, dressed in girls' clothes. I fired Ashley immediately. I was completely dumbfounded that she was doing this. It was just a complete betrayal of trust.
Okay, now, you worked as a nanny, right?
Yeah.
And you used the child you cared for to pretend that he was your own.
Yes.
Did you dress him up and post pictures of him, claiming him as your own?
Yes.
Why?
I don't fully know. I think I just wanted the attention. I wanted to feel like I had a purpose.
But there were people that knew you didn't have a child.
When I would post those photos, I would change the settings on who could see the posts.
So you were really sophisticated about this.
It was basically like an album, like, and
Right.
yeah.
Ashley had a whole other life she had created in the previous year, pretending that my son Blake was her son.
I met Ashley at the Gymboree play class in June of 2011. Ashley had never said anything about being Blake's caregiver. The more we talked, the more we bonded. In February of 2012, that's when everything unfolded. She had called me up one afternoon and told me that her son Blake had died in a head-on collision with a drunk driver.
I discovered a post on the internet stating that my son had died in an accident. Once I fired her, she had to kill him off because how was she going to explain she didn't have that child anymore?
At one point, you said that your son, Blake, had been killed in a car crash by a drunk driver, and you also lost a baby you were carrying at the same time.
I had been fired, and I had to figure out a way why I wouldn't be able to continue to provide photos, and he wasn't going to be around anymore for me to do things with.
So you're fired, but you don't stop.
I should have.
Because now, 2014, you allegedly steal photos of a blogger, and you're posting photos of her children on Facebook as your own.
I met Ashley in 2012. At the time, I was a wedding planner. Ashley and I knew each other on a professional level. In September of 2014, I received a direct message on Facebook, a woman warning me that someone was portraying my children on social media. I believed that Ashley was taking my children's photos and posting them as her own children. I felt that they had been digitally kidnapped.
I don't know who did that to her, and I think that's awful that she went through that, but that was absolutely not me.
You tell her that you have a daughter named Addison?
Yes, I did lie to her about having kids, but I never used her kids.
And you eventually created identities for all your fake children. There was Blake and Cheyenne and...
Shaylin.
Shaylin, Jaden, Zoe.
I don't remember Jaden. There was a Zoe.
Hudson.
Hudson, Braley.
Why so elaborate? I mean, if it's just for attention, you have a baby.
I think I wanted it to be real. Anyone that knows me knows that being a mom is what I want the most.
You've had a total of 7 fake pregnancies, 1 fake husband, Shane Goodman, and then 8 fake children.
Yes.
What's your explanation to yourself about why you go this route instead of some other?
I don't understand why I do it. I know I hurt people, and that's not my intention.
But you get caught, and you just do it again. I mean, it was like 08, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2014.
It's kind of like an addiction.
Now, some of those women are here.
Okay.
What do you have to say to these women that feel violated by you?
Coming up, Ashley's victims speak out.
She is a disgusting human being.
I think she's terrifying. She's a chameleon. She will find a new family to prey on.
And later, she comes face to face with them. We now return to Dr. Phil's exclusive interview.
Thank you guys so much for being here. I've been talking with Ashley in a situation here where we have someone that has been manipulator, user, exploiter of people. We want to have some insight into why they do what they do. And I think it's important for people to also understand the impact it has on their victims, how much it can disrupt their lives and all. Now, Emily, she worked for you as a nanny, correct? Right. And that was in 2010.
Right.
And she was claiming that your son was her child, both her son and her daughter.
Right.
And then, Katie, she met you at Gymboree, right?
Correct, yes.
And that's when she started telling you the lies.
That Blake was her own, yeah.
And then Hallie, you met her in 2012.
She was still working for Emily. I was pregnant with my very first child. And after Emily had fired her, she reached out to me for a job. And our relationship started from there. And she had told me that she was having a little girl. I told her I was coming back from maternity leave in December and I'd get in contact with her. And she said that her baby was due in October.
Addison.
Addison.
Right.
And Addison's very early photos is what I believe were Blake's photos dressed up as Cheyenne.
And Emily, did she tell you she was pregnant?
Yeah, so...
Show you a sonogram?
Right, end of 2011, she came to me that she was pregnant, and then she did show me a sonogram. She wore, which I believe to be one of those growing, I don't know, whatever was under her shirt, you know, wasn't a belly.
How did you discover she was posting photos of your son?
So I came across a profile on Facebook of one of her friends, and I thought, oh, let me click on that, and I zoomed in, and it was my kid. And you wouldn't have known, maybe, unless it's your own kid. Like, if you were looking, you think it's a girl. Then I continued on, and then I found another profile with, like, as he got older, she created another one. It was, and at that point, I fired her, but I didn't know the extent she went on the other side of our real life, exposing him. You know, this was just, maybe she's dressing him up at my house, because I worked at home. So I was there all the time.
And when you would be around, she explained you how?
I think I was the crazy sister-in-law or the aunt.
Yeah, so Emily was her sister-in-law who was overbearing, couldn't have kids, thought that Ashley was a young mom who didn't know what she was doing. And that registered with me because I was a young mom with a 1-year-old. I was pregnant. My husband was in Afghanistan. I had all these crazy feelings myself. So she, in turn, took that and was like, well, Emily thinks that I'm too young of a mom, you know, that I don't do things right. So she's overbearing with my son, which would make sense why Emily was always doting on Blake at Jamboree. That made sense.
But then eventually, Katie, you called her when she told you that Blake had died.
Yeah, because she told this horrific story about how Blake died in a head-on collision by a drunk driver.
And she lost the baby she was carrying.
Yeah, she lost the baby, yeah. So when Emily fired her for what she was doing on one end, she knew that she was about to be exposed. So she in turn said Blake had died to cover her tracks, and that her husband was in the hospital in critical condition with like a collapsed lung, and she had all this like medical knowledge about him or whatever, that she had lost the baby. Poor me. You know, I agreed with her over the phone. So I wasn't there, and this was supposed to be my best friend and that I had spent so much time with. So, and my family had invested a lot of time in her. So I got in touch with my family and I said, hey, I'm not there. Can you go help her? Can you bring her meals? Can we do a memorial? Like, this was something that I thought was true. So it's like I got my family involved.
Let me ask you guys, knowing what you know now, that all this is all lies, no babies, no husbands, no deaths, then the firefighting scam. I mean, it's like it never ends, right? How do you feel about her now? What do you say to yourself about her now?
Coming up.
I don't believe she means anything she says, and I don't believe anything that comes out of her mouth. Her lips are moving, she's lying.
Dr. Phil's exclusive interview continues.
In early 2017, it was revealed to me that Ashley had been faking a twin pregnancy. So I reached out, and Ashley confirmed that she was in fact 33 weeks pregnant with twins and had been in a horrific car accident. My gut didn't believe her. I called Loma Linda to see if there was an Ashley Bemis, which they had no record of. She posted pictures of very, very small children in the NICU hooked up to machines, that these were her children, Hudson and Braylee. I decided to take the images and do a reverse Google image search, and they came up to the Huffington Post. I knew in my heart at that time that the twins were absolutely fake. She's a scam artist. I think she's a very, very mentally unhealthy individual, but I also think she's dangerous. I can't speak for the other girls, but I know for myself that she inserted herself into my life and preyed upon my kindness. And she never what Emily went through, but for what I went through. My children were digitally kidnapped, and I don't know for a fact that it was her. But what I went through, just knowing that there was somebody out there using my children the way that she's used these twins, those children are out there. Whether she's had access to them, nannied for them, or she's pulled them from the internet, there's parents that have no idea that their children have been exploited in the way that she's exploited these children.
How do you feel about her now?
I think she's very terrifying. She adapts to her situation. I've told everybody she's a chameleon. She will find a new family to prey on them. She will. She preys upon what people are feeling, what people want, what people need. So she's like, you know, one kid had a heart defect and she needed donations for that, and she couldn't bear the thought of any more baby gifts, so she gave them away or she sold them. And then she created the picture perfect family on Instagram so she could create all these followers and have this happy, perfect lifestyle. Whatever audience she could get, she will find, and she will manipulate it into her own little web of lies.
I've spent time with her today, and I've tried to hold her feet to the fire. And she's willing to look you guys in the eye. She's willing to own what she's done, apologize for what she's done. If you want that, if you don't, that's totally up to you.
Her apology would probably mean nothing because she's apologized so many times and she keeps on doing it.
Right.
So it's really just for show for her. I don't believe she means anything she says, and I don't believe anything that comes out of her mouth. Her lips are moving, she's lying. I mean, all I have to say is that I think she is a disgusting human being, that I feel like I brought her into my house, I entrusted her with my child. The things she did to him is just horrible, and I probably don't even know all the things that she did. And I really just hope that she gets the help she needs and has no contact with another child ever again. Somebody like her, and look, I'm not a professional, but she's not wired right.
It would help me help her if y'all talk to her.
I'll sit down with her.
Well, I'll bring her in and put her right there with me here.
That's fine.
And that's it.
There is something I would like to say to her.
Are you okay with that?
That's fine.
Are you okay with that?
That's fine.
All right. Ashley, if you would, just sit right over here.
Coming up.
You dressed my son up as a girl, then you proceed to take my child and create another life.
You can't keep doing this to people. You have to stop.
We now return to Dr. Phil's exclusive interview.
I did tell them that you did have something that you wanted to say, so I'll turn the floor over to you.
I just really wholeheartedly want to apologize to each and every one of you for everything I put you through and everything I did to you. I'm so sorry that I victimized you guys the way I did, and Blake. And what I did was so selfish and so wrong. I am very sorry that I did that to each of you, and I hurt you and used you and victimized you. It was super selfish of me and wrong on so many levels.
Do you realize that you did not need to pretend that you were Blake's mom in order to be friends?
I think I realize that now, but at the time,
like, that was completely unnecessary. And I don't know if you realized, but my family really opened up to you, and that was horrible. You not only entangled Emily and her family in a disgusting way, but you in turn involved me and then my family and my in-laws. It needs to stop. You can't keep doing this to people. You're hurting children. You're hurting moms. This story is becoming personalized for everybody that has lost kids and has lost babies. This is becoming way out of control. You have to stop.
I absolutely agree. I don't deny anything that you're saying, and I wholeheartedly, I know I've said it in the past, but if anything has come out of this, it's been
hard to believe your apologies when you keep repeating it and creating bigger lies.
I totally
I was your
understand that.
fresh start, Ashley. This was your past, and this was your future, and you brought this into it. I believed in you, I mentored you, I was a friend to you. I was very kind, and I legitimized you in an industry that's very hard, and you abused it on every single level.
I get that, Hallie, and
Did you use my children's photos?
That I did not do. I saw.
How am I supposed to believe that?
We could have my computer searched. The police have my computer. If your kids' photos were on they would find it. I saw you go through that, and trust me, it broke my heart.
And even then, as a friend, you couldn't think what you were doing right then and there wasn't the same thing. You are digitally kidnapping children, Ashley.
I get that.
Those twins, I don't know how you get those photos, but they have a mother. And if their mother knew what I went through and what she will go through, because she will, by the grace of God, see this show. I don't know how you get those images, but what you did was wrong.
I pray to get the help so that I can move forward on all of this. I want this to be, if this hasn't been a wake-up call, I don't know what will be. I honestly believe it has been, and I think that it's a huge stepping stone for all involved. It's a healing process for you guys, big time, and I pray for me as well.
No, I have a hard time believing that it's a healing process when 6 years ago, so some of your stuff is, you know, maybe in your imagination, you're creating these, you know, fake pregnancies, fake babies, fake profiles, but you actually came into my home and watched my child. You dressed my son up as a girl. Then you proceed to take my child and create another life. This is discovered, this crazy baby shower, gifts, dressing boys as girls, making a son pretend that it's yours. You got fired. You got a restraining order against you, right? That's not a wake-up call? What was that? 3 months later, you're doing it again. 6 months later, I had people sending me pictures. Oh, Ashley's new babies. So, hard to imagine that what's a wake-up call in your eyes? Like, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that one out.
Well, I think that there's a couple things. There's a lot of legal stuff I'm dealing with now that is a huge wake-up call.
Well, getting arrested will definitely wake you up.
Absolutely. And I also think that with Dr. Phil's help, I can heal this. I don't want to hurt anybody else.
I want these ladies to hear the commitment from you that you leave them alone. You take their names out of your vocabulary. Don't ever contact them again. Leave them alone. And I've asked them to do the same thing with you. You're in their rearview mirror, and you guys need to part ways, never cross paths again, move on with your lives, and put this ugly chapter that you wrote behind you and move on. Fair enough? Okay.
Coming up.
So, are you a scam artist, or is this something that's a compulsion you can't control? Are you a scam artist, or is this something that's a compulsion you can't control?
I'm definitely not a scam artist. I don't mean to hurt people. I know I have. I'm a very broken person inside.
So what has hurt you so badly in your past?
My parents got divorced when I was young, and I grew up thinking that my dad didn't want anything to do with us. And my grandfather stepped in as the father figure, and he let me come and live with him. Then he believed something that his second wife told him about me, and he kicked me out, and he's never contacted me since to see how I'm doing.
Would you like to know what I think? I think you've been hurt, but does that explain it? There's a lot of people have been hurt that don't do this and don't fake 7 pregnancies and claim other people's children as their own. So that doesn't explain it. I think you are emotionally lazy because you have not resolved to get new coping skills.
Yeah.
When life's going well, you don't say, I think I'll make a pregnancy. You do that when it's starting to unravel, and so you need relief. So you escape into this fantasy world where you can get sympathy and attention, and you get it. And you understand that when you're putting so much effort into this multi-layered fantasy fiction world, that's all time, effort, and energy that you're not investing into creating a real life where you could have really a husband and children.
The times I have taken a break from this life and done the real life, I get hurt. I get cheated on. I get lied to.
Well, that's kind of ironic, isn't it?
Yeah.
That you get hurt by lies when your stock and trade is lying.
I want this to be a stepping stone. I want to be able to move on.
You've been very courageous in owning this here today, and I'm going to get you the help that you need.
Thank you.
Ashley has still not been charged with any crimes, and she has reached out to us since this interview and assured us that she wants to make her life better and is seeking treatment. We wish her the best and hope her victims have found some healing and some closure. For more information, go to drphil.com. Thanks for watching.
Bounce, bounce, all the girlies bounce. Take 'em to my house, turn the party out. Bounce, 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 all the girlies bounce. Take 'em to my house, turn the party out.
You warned me 1,000 times, memories can kill ya, but I didn't hear ya. I thought that I could fly, but woke up on the asphalt. I swear there was the last time. I've always been naive. Call it.
Ooh, you know.